So now that you've tried out your own daily schedule, you can see what I used and that I was most successful using in my classroom. What you see is after arrival, the boys and girls worked independently until the announcements were over in the morning. And then somewhere around 9:15, we met for our morning meeting. And our morning meeting consisted of calendar, word of the day. We had our message that we talk about all the things that we can teach during that message time. We had a greeting and some sort of game. And then somewhere around 9:45, we were ready to move into the real content for the day. Now, this morning meeting was very valuable. Some might say, well, you spent 30 minutes doing just normal routine things. But remember, think back to that word of the day. How much was taught in the area of word identification and phonics and even fluency we practiced. During the calendar, we cover a lot of math topics, and that message is just invaluable, the things that you can do during your message time. So that was 30 minutes well spent every day. Then we moved on to our social sciences, and we had about 30 minutes of social studies, science, or health, usually with literature integrated and vocabulary integrated. My boys and girls went outside at 10:15, and they had a short 10-minute recess just to get some fresh air. And when they came back in at 10:25, we had guided reading and reading workshop. And typically that lasted about 45 minutes. And so during that time, they were working individually on their reading workshop goals, and that's, again, Daily 5 is also another name for reading workshop. And then I was calling groups during that time. You can see that we have a little bit over 30 minutes, but that was basically for organization. Till they were in from recess and you were working, you had 30 real hardcore minutes of learning. At 11:15, we broke off for lunch and recess. And they came back around 11:55, and that's where we did our whole group English language arts time. And this was always our main lesson, where I read a story and we did some sort of explicit instruction. And usually after the story and a lesson, they broke off and they had something to do independently. And then that rolled right into learning center time, where we had our 30 minutes of group work. And during that 30 minutes, I continued to monitor what they were doing, conference, and all the things we talked about during learning centers. At 1 o'clock, we cleaned up, and we had a short 15-minute phonics or spelling explicit instruction activity. So this wasn't a time for them to break off and do some more independent practice. This is where I was explicitly teaching something they needed to learn. That was usually just a short little fun time, and then we moved right into intense writing workshop. And writing workshop is hard at the end of the day, but I did find that they did really well knowing that recess was coming up. Writing workshop, if you think back to our writing week, lasts for typically an hour. It has a 15-minute mini lesson. It has 30 to 45 minutes of writing time, and then it has about a 15-minute sharing at the end. And so that was our hour right there. And we got right into it, and then they got a big brain break, and at 2:15 they went out to recess for 15 minutes. We had math around 2:30, and that was a 45-minute time, and at the end of math, it was really time to wrap up for the day. We did our daily blog, where they retold the story of our day, and we recapped all of the learning that they had and vocabulary of new things so they could share those with their family members at home. We packed up, and I always ended the day with a read aloud, a story out of a chapter book. At 3:30, they were dismissed, and we crammed a lot into that day. It was intense, but with those brain breaks built in, either recess time or just a short little 2-minute brain break that I could give them, we were really functional and really stayed on task for the day.